The following is rated not safe for work. It contains strong language, adult situations, and lots of spoilers. Discretion is advised.
In the criminal justice system, cinematic-based offenses are considered especially heinous. The dedicated attorneys who investigate these villainous films are members of an elite squad known as the Reels of Justice. These are their stories.
Order, please, order! The Reels of Justice, Hell on Reels, is now in possession. Grudge Maynard Bangs presiding. Will you all please dies for the horrible Grudge Bangs? Be seated.
I thought Halloween was over.
No, Halloween goes till Thanksgiving. You know that. And then Thanksgiving gets one day, and then right into non-denominational holiday season. Welcome to the Reels of Justice, Hell on Reels. Today we are hearing the case of The People versus Bad Channels, a 1992 horror comedy about an extraterrestrial who leverages a local radio station in order to abduct beautiful Earth women. For those of you unfamiliar with our spooky court proceedings, we are here to determine if this film is guilty of the sin of being a bad movie. If so, it shall be cast for all eternity into the fiery pits of movie hell, upon which the courthouse just so happens to be built. Very convenient. Got a good deal. Mr. Dylan J. Schlender, you are representing the prosecution. You may present your opening statement.
Well, I'm going to put away this Santa hat now. I'm just embarrassed. So,
should be.
Imagine my delight when I was told I got to handle the case of the Tubi movie that was under an hour and a half. Slam dunk, I said. I can't wait to defend it. But alas, no. I am prosecuting because that is my sacred duty. And frankly, this is a movie that is in dire need of prosecution. Bad Channels is a bolted-on movie to the Charles Band cinematic universe that features Dollman and demonic toys, but it is void of the charm and wit of either of those features. This movie is poorly paced, punctuated with preposterous music video interstitials, and not unlike another guilty feature, Nothing But Trouble, these music distractions are just that, distractions. The whole look of this movie is amateurish, and not in an endearing way at all. The special effects are belabored, and the acting is subpar. I mean, my goodness, to say subpar implies they're even on the golf course. They're in the parking lot, for crying out loud. And lastly, it is just not fun to watch. It is a slog that ultimately has no resolution we care about because there is no time taken to establish the stakes or the characters. All in all, we would have been better served by a 20-hour polka marathon than this tripe. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schlender. You and your love of polka knows no ends. Appearing on
right.
behalf of the defense is Mr. Leroy Patterson. Please present your opening statement.
What is entertainment? It goes by a lot of different views and a lot of different ways to be seen. And in this movie, has all of them. Amazing music videos, despite what was said earlier, that tie in directly to the film. It's got Dan O'Dare, which is one of cinema's greatest characters ever created, except for one part. But he pieces this thing together in so many amazing ways. And the monsters that ravage this film are amazing. And they stick in your brain from when you're 9 to today and beyond. I think this movie, 99% of it, should be respected and beloved by everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Patterson. Mr. Schlender, you may proceed with your first exhibit.
Thank you, Your Honor. I am amazed that this movie clocks in at an hour and 21 minutes because it seems impossibly long and bloated. The whole time we are just waiting for things to happen because none of the interactions we see are interesting. And the movie is acutely aware of this because there are 3 music videos shoved into it. Look, it is one thing to have a musical number, but to have 3 that do not serve the plot in any meaningful way is just the director being indulgent. So we are treated to an absolutely bizarre story devoid of interest of an alien using a radio station to shrink and kidnap young women for what is never explicitly made clear. This all just seems to be an excuse to lurch from music video to the next with no real stakes, no real understanding, nothing to chew on. This pacing kills any momentum, not that they ever built much up to begin with. It is not particularly scary or funny because there's no chance to let anything scary or funny develop.
Mr. Patterson, what about the pacing, or would you like to respond to this claim about the musical segments?
I can see why one would think that way, assuming that person is dealing with a devastating case of ADHD. That is completely fair, totally warranted. However, the music videos featured in this movie not only serve the story, but are amazing. Are you telling me that you're going to look at I'm So Happy by Psychotic Symphony and say you're not having a good time?
Yeah.
I refuse. You must be lying to this audience and to this jury, and I won't stand for it. The pacing is fine. The videos are amazing.
Look, it's not lying, and it is an issue with pacing because there's nothing, the stakes are never established. We never really have a clear sense of what the conflict is, besides that the alien is trying to abduct these girls, which takes a long time to happen after he takes over the radio station anyway. So it seems that these music videos are necessary hallucinations to pull the girls in. We don't know exactly why, but that seems to be what they're going with until the very end, where maybe the budget ran out and they accidentally kidnapped the band geek. Boom, they just get him. Oh, no, didn't want him. Send him back. Boom, now we got the news lady. Okay, where was their hallucinogenic music video? It turns out we didn't ever need it, and it was just in there because they want to be indulgent with these music videos. And when you do that, you have to realize you're bringing your movie to an absolute halt and standstill as we wait for this song and dance number to be done. That ultimately leads nowhere because we don't know why the alien is collecting these women. The DJ says something like, oh, he's waving to them like they were a pet or something. It's like we just have no idea what anything means in this because they don't take any time to explain or establish the stakes. We don't get a sense of who's really in danger, who's not. So we're just like, well, I guess we'll just wait for the next thing to happen so things can start making a little more sense. But we never get that resolution. And that's why the pacing is bad. And that's why the music videos hurt it. Even if you think those songs sound good, functionally, you could have plugged in any song, any dance number. It's a paint by numbers format that just doesn't work very well for this story or this genre. I mean, again, this was an hour and 21 minutes. If you take out those music videos and you just try to have a cohesive plot here, you're looking at maybe 20 minutes and not a particularly interesting 20 minutes either.
I'm going to let Mr. Patterson respond again about whether these songs add to the plot.
So a moment ago, you said that you have no idea what's going on, so how could it be scary? Are you suggesting that for something to be scary or entertaining, you need to know every detail about what's going on? These aliens came from nowhere. We are experiencing the unknown and the terror that the other characters are experiencing because this is an alien species. How are we supposed to know immediately what they're up to? All right, we learn alongside Dan O'Dare. We take this journey with him, and we find out details, little bits here and there. We find out that they're using the clear channel, the very powerful signal that they have, and their technology is melding with ours, and over time it gets better, so that by the time we get to the end of the film, they don't even need a full music video anymore. They can just grab Martha Quinn or the Band Geek instantly. That's terrifying to me. All right, it's one. If they had continued to use the music video style, maybe we could have found a way to stop them. Interrupt the person, stop them in the middle of dancing, and snap them out of it. That's not possible anymore. They can snatch any person, anytime, instantly. If you're not afraid of that, well, then you should go to the hospital because your heart stopped working.
All right, I'll book.
Mr. Schlender, you would hate to be tiny and shrunk into a jar.
Oh, this is true. Now, but the reason it's not particularly scary is because there's not a lot of context for why this is happening. Like you said, like an alien just shows up and starts doing things. Now, this is interesting. So I'm actually going to skip to a point because stuff you brought up, Leroy, dovetails into my third point. And it's about how the movie doesn't really give you a lot to chew on. And I'm going to address some of the issues you raised. But first, a little history. The company that made this movie also made a film called TerrorVision, which was about the dangers of too much TV consumption. And some have argued that Bad Channels is similarly trying to make a commentary, be it on the news media or maybe on Clear Channel radio stations. Who knows? Because it's clearly not there on the screen, and this is something that the Barbarians are trying to add on to the movie to raise its esteem. So because we never learn why the alien is doing what he's doing, we don't get that message like we got in TerrorVision, where the aliens or the mutants would literally jump out and like blow people up out of the TV. So we don't really get that kind of message, belabored though it would be. But what's interesting, in this film, strange stuff is happening all over, and they make a big deal, as you just mentioned, about the station having this national reach. And that would seem to be important, except it's not. The alien uses the station to capture all local girls who we've already met. So he's not capturing like the most beautiful women from all over the country, which would make sense, and at least that's something we could latch onto. He's literally just capturing girls within like a 3-mile radius of the station anyway. So what's the big deal with it being a Clear Channel station? Why is the alien picking this station when frankly he probably could have just easily have gone and kidnapped these girls with a minivan? So
Mr. Patterson, would you like to respond? Should this alien have higher standards?
I don't know if you've ever traveled to another universe, another planet, and tried to hook up your technology to theirs. These things take time. Yeah, we could go to LA and grab all the women around there, but the amount of people, the amount of ammunition in that area is threatening to an alien, right? Well, you got to do it covertly. So yeah, you could go to a major metropolis and deal with millions of people, or you hit Pahuda. You hit a small town with very limited police, and that gives you a lot more time to not only meld your tech to theirs. See, because that's the beauty of this. It's a small town. You're going to be able to get away with a lot more than having the National Guard knocking down your door if you hit LA or New York, right? So you hit a small town. You give it time to work your tech. That's why things are moving faster. Eventually, if Dan O'Dare hadn't saved the day, they could have been going farther and farther and extending their reach. That's terrifying to me. Luckily,
it seems, I got to interrupt, Leroy. I'm sorry, but it just seems highly unlikely because we clearly see there's 4 tubes. He's clearly looking to collect 4 women for reasons that are never expressly made clear. And seemingly, as hinted at the beginning of the movie, this Clear Channel being able to broadcast all over the United States, that would be an important factor, but that's never paid off. It's the Chekhov's gun that's never fired. So yes, it could have been like, oh, this is a nice little place to attack, but they're building it up to be that this idea that the station's 666, so no one uses it, so that's why it has the national access. Like, that's going to mean something. That's going to be important. And it's completely fumbled. It brings absolutely nothing to the table. It was just another waste of our time at the beginning of the movie as we wait for the next music video to start.
So I don't know if you've ever tried to beam women through a radio network,
Yes,
but
once.
ones that nobody is using seems to be the one to go for. You know, if I'm using, I need a completely uninterrupted signal, and the station 666 is going to give you that. That's where I'm going first.
So you're saying that he took over that station with his alien technology, which is capable, mind you, of intergalactic travel, to take over a single AM band to kidnap 4 local women. So the station's national reach had nothing to do with it when that's what they were stressing. I don't buy it. I don't think the jury's going to buy it. But I'm happy to move on to my next point, Your Honor.
I object real
All right,
quick.
please
You
do.
need a very strong signal to beam people through. Believe me, all right? I know from experience watching this film. And if you were to use a smaller, weak, like a standard AM, no, you're gonna get some toes and maybe an arm. That's not good. That's not what you need.
Some
See,
people want those.
And the 4 women are a sampler, right? This is the first rush. This is the scout. This is the first attempt to see if this is going to work.
Objection! You don't know that because we're never.
You don't not know that.
We're never given that kind of context. We only see the one alien and his robot pal kidnapping these 4 local women. Now you can assume all this other stuff you want, especially if what.
Well, I don't know if yours was the objection. But I think I'm going to overrule it. This seems to be the first alien that came here, and often first contact people are scouts. But
it's not this universe's first encounter with aliens, though, because they're introducing the Dollman universe into this, and he himself is an alien. So saying that this guy is a scout, we don't know that because Earth has had extraterrestrial presence in this world before. So I have to object to your ruling there, Your Honor, because it doesn't make sense.
No. Wait. Then if you're going to try to step up to the bench, is Dollman the exact same type of alien species as the one that takes over the radio station? No. Okay. So then that other species would completely have scouts of their own and wouldn't care what other aliens showed up. So the overrule is held up. Thank you. Order in my court, Mr. Schlender.
This is
go to your next point.
Rampant speculation that has no support or any basis in the movie, and the juries could be smart enough to see that, Your Honor. So you can rule.
Well, I hope they are.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, so I can move on to my third and final point, Your Honor.
Please do.
That I
thought this was your second point. You skipped over to your third earlier.
I did skip to my third point, but this has now become my third and final point. So I understand that this is a direct-to-video release, right? And if the filmmakers want to argue that it's supposed to be bad or schlocky, fine. It just means I win. While I know this court values practical effects work, not all practical work is beyond reproach. In this movie, the alien does indeed look like a block of crap, as the characters say. The robot is far too toy-like to be believable, and all the fungal growth looks like so much rubberized foam. The music videos are not shot with any particular flair, and it is remarkable how straight on this movie is shot. When you think about the bizarre premise, there are many opportunities for interesting camera work or angles, and we never get it. It is very shot just dead on with the action, not particularly stylized at all when you think about how this movie you would think would want to describe itself as stylized. So let's look at the acting as well. The DJ, he's not very convincing as a bad boy. The women the alien choose are clearly there for their looks, and again, they're all local for some reason. And the TV reporter woman delivers her dialogue so woodenly, I was thinking they were going to start peeling bark off of her instead of the green foam. Now, regardless, the interactions between these characters are also just atrocious. At the beginning, the DJ and the lady reporter are talking almost as if there was an implied history between them, but then it's shown they actually don't have a history. So where was this dialogue coming from? And let's not forget the maintenance man screaming, showing off his fungal growth, the sheriff's dull bravado, and the station owner's weaselness. Nothing here works together. Everyone was doing their own thing, and it's not fun to watch because none of it works when you put it all together. And I will rest my case there, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Patterson, you may proceed with your first exhibit, and of course you can rebut any of those points you'd like as well.
Yeah, I think the prosecution is wrong on every front. And I'd like to explain myself. I'd like to give a couple of examples.
You'll have to. Yeah, you can't just state it. You will have to back it up.
I just that is the overarching message I wish to present here, is that the prosecutor is wrong. For example, a lot of insults have been thrown the way of the music videos. Now, I don't know if you were around during the heyday of MTV, but those were some amazing music videos by MTV standards. I know they've got special effects now. I know you've got all these fancy things, but in the 90s, we had Lust, we had Sweat, and we had guitars. And this movie is chock full of them. All right. You've got Psychotic Symphony, one of the greatest unknown bands of the world, singing about how happy they are, and then immediately going apeshit. How could you not be hyped during the entirety of that music video? You've got Charlie Spradling dressed as a waitress.
I gotta object. Hyped for what, though? Like, what's the payoff of that music video? There is none.
Oh yeah,
they actually you're getting hyped for the nothing.
Plot, so you get two things, right? It's a buy one get one free. You get some plot moving, all right? You get the women is kidnapped from this place. They're all listeners of the show, right? That's a prerequisite that's been established. They got to be listening, and they got to be local, because as we've established, okay, that's now we all believe it is fact, is the fact that they are integrating their technology, so they're working local, right? You start local and then you think global. That's how they're working on this. That's how a lot of good things work out, right?
It's a grassroots abduction campaign.
Yes. So, yeah. First off, just defending the music videos. They are amazing. The songs are so good. You put them in your iPad, and your iPhones, and your iPad. You listen to them. They're great. They serve the film. It's not, you keep saying as if it's a distraction. It's not. It's serving the film, all right? You're learning, you're getting a little bit more history about the people and their relationships with everyone around them, right? You get the nerdy guy hitting on her. We wouldn't know that the nerdy band leader is into the bimbo lady. But
we totally knew that. That's quite explicit when they first show her. Yeah.
but you get to explore that more, right? You get to see alternate versions of these characters, and then it ends with this amazing abduction, and you're like, oh my god, that right? It's mind blowing every time. I don't know. Maybe I'm easily entertained. Maybe not. I don't think that's the case. I think that I respect great 90s music, and this movie has it in spades. It's got the Blue Oyster Cult. That is my first point.
All right. Mr. Schlender, I think you've said a lot about the music video, so we'll let Mr. Patterson proceed to his next exhibit.
No objection.
My next exhibit would be Dan O'Dare. You know, Dan O'Dare is one of the great movie leads, and unfortunately, due to the less knowledge that this film has to the greater world, it's unfortunate that he's not spoken in the same sentences as a Snake Plissken or an Ashley Williams, if you will. I think Dan O'Dare has the charisma and has the comedic timing and the chops, and 99% of what he says in this film is brilliant.
Objection. What's the 1% that's not brilliant? I'd be interested in hearing that. So I think our honor would be as well.
He does not have to present exhibit against him, but if you have it, Mr. Schlender, I can't stop you from
do my job for me.
Yeah.
I have a feeling I know what it is. Maybe I'll save it for my closing.
Oh man. Okay. So am I able to move on to my third exhibit then?
Please.
Yeah.
The monsters in this film. You say they look like a pile of crap. How many aliens you seen in real life, huh?
Objection. The characters in the movie say they look like a pile of crap.
Sure. But do the creatures themselves look like crap? I don't think so. I have seen many a crappy monster in my day.
Just to clarify, Mr. Schlender, you're saying that that the characters say the monsters look like crap, but you're actually talking about the suits.
Okay, so it's a double thing here, right? Mm-hmm. The alien looks like a literal pile of crap. They say that in the movie, right? And the alien does look bad. So it's a twofer here. And them just trying to say in the movie to give themselves cover for shitty costume design, it's not going to play, Your Honor.
Mm-hmm.
See, I am disagreeing with the second point there. I think the costume design on the initial Cosmo alien is great. I think the robot sidekick looks wonderful. That is the fun throwback to the like Lost in Space style of robot. Plus, you get some amazing brain action in that thing. And then lastly, we haven't even touched on towards the end of this film, we get an amazing tentacled monster with eyes and its swinging head, and they're fighting this thing, and it's that thing is all. You cannot say that thing looks like crap. All right, the other creature looks like a giant coal, like a piece of coal on top of his head. I'll accept that. Sure, the spacesuit is amazing that it wears, and its final form is even better. This movie continues to deliver.
Mr. Schlender, did any other further remarks about the effects?
Oh, so at the end of the movie, right, we do see the main craphead alien, his suit gets punctured, and he turns into this weird Little Shop of Horrors puppet. And they spray him with the antibacterial spray, which, maybe I'll give it a little more credit. It's a slightly more creative way of killing an alien than we had in Signs, to bring in some reducto ad Shyamalan here. But ultimately, yeah, I know, right? But ultimately, uninteresting, right? It's like, okay, they defeat the alien. So what? What does it mean? Like, we still don't really even know what was going on. And then it's just, then the movie's over. And then you realize once the movie's over, A, I don't have to think about this anymore. And B, even if I want to, there's nothing to think about anyway. So I think just having these bad effects, and again, I appreciate that it's a direct-to-video movie. I appreciate that there are going to be limitations there, but their inability to work within those limitations, that's the disservice that brings this movie to bad.
Mr. Patterson, any further exhibits?
I think that I have presented enough as proof, as definitive proof that this film is amazing. But I can bring out one more thing that it's the cherry on top of this thing. All right, because you got the Blue Oyster Cult music, you've got Psychotic Symphony, you've got Dan O'Dare, you've got amazing creature effects. What else could you possibly want? And you've got Martha Quinn, MTV's Martha Quinn. All right, she is a darling. All right, she is beloved by all. I can't. I've never heard one bad thing.
Me either.
About Martha Quinn.
Yeah.
So the fact that you've got her giving a command performance in this film. All right,
I believe I said wooden performance.
No, I thought you said what a performance.
Wow.
With Dan O'Dare. All right, Paul Hipp. You've got to go up against Paul Hipp and you're Martha Quinn and you knock it out of the park. That's a special thing. And I think that this jury and you yourself, Judge, should recognize that.
Now, remind me, Martha Quinn, she was the one that went looking for the, quote, little green men? And so she'd have to settle for what? I don't remember the line. I'm sorry.
I don't know if that may have been in a director's cut of the film.
Nice.
Probably a deleted scene. I don't know.
Probably a deleted scene. That was in the Tubi version, and you know it. That's what you've been tiptoeing around this whole time.
Well, I hope everyone Googles it then so they know what it is.
Look, we should not be judging a film, an hour and 20-minute film based on 30 seconds, okay?
Which I haven't done. I just like teasing you with it because clearly it bugs you. It bugs you way more than it bugs anyone in this court, except for maybe Ryan.
It's a horrible remnant of the 90s, but I refuse to judge a film based on one horrible moment.
That's fair. And look, I could point out all day how I watched that scene with my Asian girlfriend and, how much that really hurt. But I'm not going to do that, okay? I think we're good to move on to our closings, Your Honor.
Sure, yeah. You have an Asian girl, okay. You have a girlfriend at all? All right. All sides have rested their cases. The attorneys will now present their closing arguments. Mr. Schlender, you may begin.
Thank you, Your Honor. And might I say, despite us clashing, you look very dapper today. Ultimately, this movie is bad because it is not interesting on any level. There are no creative choices that have value. There's no creativity in the script and no glimpses of competent acting and no message to ponder. The movie is just 3 music videos stapled together. It will put you to sleep, but don't worry, you won't miss anything. You all know me. I want to defend the hackers. I want to give the oddballs a shot. So it does hurt me that this movie is bad. But I can't even say there was an interesting idea in there that needed polishing. It is just so vacuous. All we can do is move on with our lives. This one deserves to go to movie hell for the real sin of not even trying. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Patterson, please present your closing argument.
Any of us in this world want to be entertained. That is something that we strive for. That's why we're here today, for entertainment. What are the things that entertain us? Music, comedy, wonderful characters, the Blue Oyster Cult. This movie has all of those things. You've got these crazy creature effects. You've got amazing leads in Dan O'Dare, Mr. Paul Hipp, and the amazing, the unflappable, the wonderful, beautiful Martha Quinn. You've got Sonny Carl Davis. You've got so many wonderful actors in this thing. And it's led to so many other awesome movies, like Dollman vs. Demonic Toys, which is excellent, and a wonderful continuation of this film. I think that more people should be exposed to this movie, and I really hope that that's what we're doing here today, because it is a classic. It is 99% an amazing film, and I hope that despite what happens today, you go home, you go to Tubi, you go to the Full Moon website, fullmoondirect.com, you buy it off of there. Any way you can see this movie, you'd be doing yourself a service. Thank you.
When you buy it from there, are you buying the streaming, or like is it a disc?
They have both the disc and the streaming.
Oh, that's
Why don't
do
you guys
do
have
actually
a
get to
little
download
party
it?
about it later, Mr. Schlender.
Just
Thank you
curious.
both, members of the jury, Mr. Maynard Bangs, Mr. Big Ben Haslar, and Mr. Bumper to Bumper, Ryan Luis Rodriguez. You have all heard the spooky facts concerning this case. It is now up to you to determine if this film is guilty of the sin of being a bad movie, and will therefore be condemned to the depths of movie hell. The Scaretaker will escort you to the deliberation room to render your verdict. Right this way! You know, that Blue Oyster Cult says don't fear the Reaper. May I also add, don't carpool with the guy either. See, they're friends. They know each other. Like they're pals.
It's a good joke.
Well, I do not understand Leroy. I want to give the underdogs a shot. I don't understand this. I don't understand Freddy got fingered. I wonder if he watched one of my favorite movies, if he'd hate it. I wonder if we're just like sort of on polar opposites. I wanted to give this a shot. I really did. I did not understand it. Similar to the way the prosecution went on about like it's just music videos. I didn't care. I don't know what this is. He like said,
but you don't care. But what about people who maybe do? Like people who do subjectively like this music.
If you would subjectively like this music ahead of time, then you're kind of in the bag for it. Like it's made for you. But to be like a good movie, it can't be so niche, can it?
I think it can. I don't think it's required to aim to a particular audience, especially knowing that this thing was direct to video. So it was going to a niche, right? Like you're going to buy the soundtrack and you're going to buy the VHS, right? You're going to, it's a whole package deal. It is to the niche of people who apparently like this alternative metal. I personally did like it. I didn't know Psychotic Symphony, but yeah, I've been singing the I'm So Happy song for
but imagine you take that out of it. You don't love them going in. Like what are you left with if the music video doesn't do anything for you?
That hurts, but to me, it's like, to me, I saw those, like, unlike Nothing But Trouble, where to me it really is a padding because the movie has nothing to do with it. This clearly is about a rock station, so it is about rock music, and they happen to use it to add into the abductions, but it's baked into the DNA of the movie. Like I wish they did more videos, or if they did Bad Channels 2, there'd be another 6 songs, like and it's just a reason to put kind of music videos out there. I thought the rest was just sort of generally well-produced fluff around the video. The video was the purpose to me.
Yeah, no, I agreed. Yeah.
Like
let's go to my 7th favorite Letterboxd reviewer who said he liked the robot. What did you think about it?
I like the robot, damn it. The robot
Me
is
too.
cute. I think the robot's great. Unfortunately, the rest of the movie is a nut. This is a gentleman's
Oh,
2,
no.
and
Oh,
I am
come
being
on.
I am being very generous in that.
No.
I would much rather watch Rock and Roll Nightmare starring former guest of this cart, Frank Dietz. I'd rather watch that 18 times in a row than ever watch this goddamn movie ever again. Leroy watched this hundreds of times? That's Stockholm Syndrome. That's not okay.
Aw, you're the worst.
It's not that bad. It's not that
Yeah, I don't
bad.
think it's
I
that
won't-
bad. I don't think it's a gentleman's 2. I think you are screwed if you go and you don't like the music. Like if I go and I watch Phantom, and I don't like Broadway music, I'm gonna hate the movie.
Yeah, but Phantom at least sort of leads you into it. It's not like you have to know and like the music ahead of time.
This is
Alright,
the
but-
only time Bad Channels will ever be compared to Phantom of the fucking Opera. Oh my god.
Only on Reels of Justice.
Oh my
they-
god.
I guess I don't know. I hope you're not suggesting Phantom's that good. It's not. Yeah. Now, what did you think of the effects then, Ryan? I mean, you didn't like the effects. I love
the robot. I will stand
What about
by
the
that.
What about the alien?
The alien looks like it looks like the creeping terror. It looks like garbage. The entire movie looks like garbage. It's horrendously ugly looking. It's poorly lit. It's very much a Full Moon Features movie. And when I saw that logo at the beginning, I'm like, this is going to be a rough 80 minutes. And you know what?
Well,
I was right.
I just want to hear a response from this on you, Ryan, just out of curiosity. Do you like when you have limited means and you're still trying to produce something? Because if you have a limited budget, there's only so much you can do for an alien.
No, absolutely. I think that is completely reasonable to look at the means in which something was made versus what they could do if they had unlimited funds. But this is Full Moon, so they don't necessarily have the cream of the crop in terms of talent behind the camera. But maybe if given an opportunity, they could make something good. Again, I like the robot, so it's not all bad, but
Yeah.
it's just not enough to save the movie. It's just, just because I think a robot is cute, that doesn't mean I'm going to walk away and going, and I love the movie because of it. No, it's not enough.
It worked on Hitchhiker's Guide. What about the actor? What about the main guy?
I couldn't have told you what his name was. I couldn't have told you what he was in. I kept on hearing the words Dan O'Dare, and I'm like, is that an actor I should know? And then it turns out that's the name of the character. I have no fucking clue. I don't know.
Okay.
I knew who Martha Quinn was.
But not much of a leading man for you.
No, not at all.
I also have it on good authority that Martha Quinn has at least one time in her life been flapped. So she's not unflappable.
Anyone have any other thoughts before we lock in?
Yes, Riff Tracks could make this good. There you go.
Yeah, Riff Tracks
Have they?
would.
Yeah, no, they haven't. They
No,
did
but
Rock and
this
Roll
is their
Nightmare,
kind of-
but they haven't
yeah.
done this yet. They could, though.
Yeah,
They could make this awesome.
Yeah, this would be very good. Or even just maybe new Mystery Science Theater would do it, but I don't know if
We don't
we're
need
working
that.
with Full Moon
Nah.
nowadays.
Nah.
I don't know. But I see low budget stuff, and I've seen a lot of Trauma stuff, and to me, the
But
effects I
Troma's
saw
charming,
here.
though. Troma's
I think
really
this is more charming.
No, Rob, come on.
No, I don't know. I didn't think these effects were that bad. I don't find Trauma charming, but
Well, like our very biased judge today, Mr. Maynard, do you...
I don't think it was bias. I just don't think that was an unfair assumption for the defense to make, because I think what the point was that what the judge was trying to say. I can't get inside the judge's head.
What was the thing
You
that they
know,
were
so-
dodging around? I don't remember what they were
Oh, I
talking
don't either.
about.
So it was definitely some throwaway problematic joke, which is just, if Ryan didn't remember, it didn't bother him.
If it was at the
then-
end, that's when I tuned out.
I don't remember 80% of this movie. I remember liking the robot.
neither.
That's all I remember. This movie is so goddamn forgettable.
And
It's ridiculous.
That's working against it, because we had it scheduled for like 2 weeks ago or something like that.
Yes, and I wouldn't have
completely
remembered it
off my
then
All right,
either.
let's start locking in. But
All right, Mr. Maynard, where are you at?
I can see where you guys are gonna go. Why do I gotta go first?
Because I'm the foreman. You got to respect my little name
I
tag.
do think the purpose of this is the videos, and I do like Blue Oyster Cult, and I do like rock. So this was just sort of a rock and roll horror comedy. Like, I didn't like that we kind of argued that the alien should ever be terrorizing. I've never terrorized. It's a fun horror. The movie's fun. It's lighthearted. You know, no one should think that they're kidnapping girls to be scary. We don't care what happens to the girls. Who gives a fuck? You know, it's just about music videos and listening to rock music and what I thought was cool effects. And so I liked its vibe. I liked its straight to video. Sorry, I know I do think that's an excuse. I think it's niche to the people who would want it, and I think people who are here for it would like that. So I'm gonna go not guilty, but I've got a feeling that's just not gonna fucking matter.
Oh, I kind of hate it when it starts feeling that way. Ryan, where are you at?
Oh, it's obviously not guilty. Oh, you fucking kidding me? Of course it's guilty.
You gotta say it.
Guilty.
It must be on the record. We gotta write it down on our little pad here. Yeah, like one thing the defender said is like, are you saying you need to have everything explained to you that's going on? And that's not really true. I don't, but I need most things explained to me. And this is clearly like, if you're going to make sense out of this plot, you kind of have to add this superfluous layer on top of it to make it make sense. It's about the videos. That's why we're here. And if you don't like the videos, which I didn't, you're not going to have a good time. And it takes like an hour and a half of your time when it could have just taken you, what, like 20 minutes to watch all 3 videos back to back?
Yeah, and there's only 3 of them. So even if you like the videos, there's not enough of the videos in the movie.
I agree with you there, Ryan. I do wish there were more. And I wonder if there was at least, the soundtrack's got like 8. So I wouldn't be surprised if there were more and they trimmed them. I don't know.
I think the Defender's an interesting guy. I would really like to watch some movies with him. I want to see like how different I think compared to him. I think that would just be so fun. So I hope he doesn't take my initial comment negatively. But yes,
he can take mine negatively. That's fine with me.
Yeah. It's very clear. Leroy guesting on One Track Mind soon, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, I love it.
No, I'm afraid I'm going to have to go guilty as well. So I hear the hounds of hell were drooling for this one throughout that trial. They were barking beneath that door. So let's go tell that very handsome judge.
Mr. Foreman, have you reached a verdict?
We have, Your Honor. In the case of The People versus Bad Channels, we condemn the film to movie hell.
What? This is an outrage.
I'm not happy. The verdict is so rendered. I hereby rule that Bad Channels be cast into the 5th circle of movie hell, reserved exclusively for feature-length music videos. Court is adjourned.
Yeah, that's a good circle.
It's not a bad one, actually.
This is Mumbly Mumberson reporting to you from outside the Reels of Justice. If I sound tired, it's because I slept through this whole goddamn trial. It made me want to be dead again. Leroy Patterson, would you care to share your thoughts on the jury's verdict? And I caution you, I'm already bored.
Dan O'Dare. Psychotic Symphony. Martha Quinn. How dare this court? I am so mad. I'm going to go punch a car.
You go do that. And here comes Dylan Trace Schlender.
My car!
You big putz. Excuse me, could we get a vote on who failed that today's verdict?
Joke's on him, because despite the Scaretaker's advice, I did carpool with the Grim Reaper, so he just punched the Grim Reaper's car, so we should probably get the hell out of here. But regardless, I gotta say, this is the kind of movie I instinctually would want to defend. But here's the thing, having seen other features from this company, you know, like Doll Man, TerrorVision, Demonic Toys, like this is at the bottom of that barrel of ill repute, I must say.
It's a hacker barrel.
So, yeah, and so I'm okay with it being guilty because it is a bad movie, but it is a bad movie you can enjoy and get something out of. So I do hope, like Leroy said, this raises the exposure for it. I hope people see it, really make their own judgment. I mean, I was able to point out what was bad about it, and that's all true. But this isn't like the worst movie we're ever going to talk about on
It's not a Gentleman's 2.
So I would not say it's a Gentleman's 2. Gentleman's 4, I might go with. But yeah, so I want everyone to make up their own mind and see it, because this is exactly the kind of movie when I went into the video store in the 90s, you know, when you go to that horror section and they're all lined up, was definitely grabbing this one. That's right. That's the twist. I saw this movie like 5 times when I was younger, and I haven't told anyone till now. All right. Thank you. I'll talk to you guys in the post-trial.
You make me so sad. That's all I have from the courthouse today. Let's go back to the studio for post-trial analysis. The grave is calling for me, as it's calling for all of you.
Stop saying that, Mumbly.
He's right,
every
though.
week. I can't have him over
No,
there.
but Leroy, I'm totally where you were. This was one that I would rent when we were kids, you know, and I always liked the music and everything. So when you said I was lying, well, I wasn't lying because all those things are true. The movie is bad, but
you're
it
representing
is
public opinion. You're representing a public opinion, not your own.
No. Everything I said was true. No. I'm not disputing that, but it is a bad movie. I find it entertaining, which I think is an important distinction to make on this show sometimes.
Yeah, riff tracks, Mystery Science, absolutely.
Leroy, do you think? See, I think Full Moon is one tier above Trauma. Like I did, I don't think I could really sit very long through like a Toxic Avenger movie, but I'll watch all the Puppet Masters. They're great. Trancers, sweet, you know.
I've worked for both companies, and Full Moon definitely has the better lunches, you know.
That's a great way to put it, and
I
especially
love it.
Yeah, for a man in that position, correct answer.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, no, I generally like the film.
I would agree with your assessment though, Maynard. I found all those movies, but here's the thing: I watched all those movies when I was a kid. This is the first time I've revisited one as an adult, so I don't know how everything.
And that's why this court is so messed up, because if you were in the jury, it might be different. But God, fucking system. But Leroy,
if you would like to be a juror on Reels of Justice, call our hotline.
What have you been up to? The lunches here are not good. Leroy, what have you
have a salad bar?
I have not received the lunch yet. Is that something I'm waiting for?
That's why it's so bad.
Oh, it's Oxygen. Great.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, things have been great. I've been acting in a bunch of horror movies lately from Full Moon legend Tom Devlin, the special effects master. Mm-hmm. We did a vampire Romeo and Juliet film that comes out in a few months, and then we just filmed another one last week in Vegas that I can't talk about yet, but it's absurd and it's either got potential to crash and burn or be a cult classic. So we'll find out.
The answer's somewhere in the middle.
Color me interested. Hey, just get it on Tubi, Leroy, and I'm watching it, man.
Oh, for sure. So, I mean, not to keep promoting them, but Tom Devlin's first film that he directed called Teddy Told Me To is available on like Google and Amazon and a bunch of other places for streaming. And so I'm assuming all of his other movies will be as well.
And
Awesome.
And I know Full Moon puts a lot of their stuff just straight up on their YouTube channel.
Right. So Troma puts every movie they've ever produced up on their YouTube. I think their channel may have gotten shut down and then brought back up. I don't remember. But yeah, so Full Moon has Full Moon streaming. They have a Roku channel. They have the website where you can buy all the Blu-rays and DVDs and vinyls and CDs and 30,000 different types of merch. I used to ship all of those when I worked at Full Moon. So
I thought for sure that they also had their own YouTube channel, because I think I watched Baby Oopsie on it.
Oh, nice. Yeah. They try to put their stuff out everywhere nowadays. Mm-hmm. And they're making some really cool stuff. Even since I left, like they're still kicking and I think a lot of their stuff is worth a watch.
Just keep making Puppet Master. I'm gonna watch the Puppet Master. I don't care what they do. You know, it could be Puppet Masters do Manhattan. You know, I don't care. That'd be fine, actually. I'd love a lighthearted, non-killing Puppet Masters where they go on vacation or something. Like
takes the edge off.
Yeah, exactly. It's not that they're not interested in killing. They're just not interested in killing this weekend.
Right, yeah, they want to just take a break. Everyone does.
The only thing they're interested in killing is time. It's them chilling on the beach in little tiny chairs, and that's it.
That is not a bad idea.
Third act, they kill everyone in the resort.
Yep, I'm in.
Sign me up.
People keep kicking sand on them.
How about one where they get stored in an attic and they go to war with like Christmas decorations?
That'd be sweet. I'd like to see a little old school 1920s Santa riding a rat going after 6-shooter. That'd be great.
All right, we need some big money. We'll have to get Elon Musk on it. All right, they somehow
I think his finances have taken a hit.
I know. Well, we'll have to get some kind of donor, because we need someone who can buy multiple companies to make this cross promotion happen. the puppet toys are displayed in the Smithsonian,
Okay.
where Ben Stiller happens to be
Yes!
night security guard.
Yes!
And wackiness ensues.
Oh man.
Fright at the museum.
Fright at the Museum. Yes, these are the movies that should be being made. But what are we gonna get now? We're like in Marvel Phase 79. I mean,
Again, I actually think that like Bad Channels 2, Bad Channel, like that would have been cool if they could get, the right kind of bands in there. Like, yeah, people would watch here.
So a fun fact, there was a time where we had to deal with Redbox and we were putting out a brand new movie every month or every other month. And I got told to go into our vault and grab 10 of these scripts. Found 9 of them. The one script that was missing was called Evil Wrestling Federation. And I was like, oh my God, I'm a pro wrestler. How could this not exist? I need to do this. This is my in. And then so that weekend, me and a buddy wrote Evil Wrestling Federation and plopped it on Charlie's desk the next week. And we're like, hey, couldn't find it, but I wrote it. What do you think? And he went for it. It got announced. Yes! It was on the schedule, and it was a loose sequel to Bad Channels. It took place in Pahuda. It followed a wrestling federation instead. So instead of music videos, there would have been wrestling matches that furthered the story. And then they break into the Superstation 66, and they do a whole bit where they broadcast a final commercial because it's their last show. That goes off into the universe, and then some aliens get involved. So it was definitely in the works, and then things didn't work out, and a lot of the schedule got wiped, including that one. So my backdoor Bad Channels sequel did not see the light of day yet, but
release the Patterson cut.
Right? No, fingers crossed. One day we'll get that done.
Now using wrestling matches as interstitials instead of music videos, that's excellent. That's a movie.
Does the kidnappee have to be wrestled?
There is a significant kidnapping involved that ties into the story that I think would have played really well and tied with the original very nicely, but we'll see if that ever happens.
Yeah, and you got to get the right indie people involved too.
We got to hold out.
Now, we always ask for recommendations from our guests for movies that you think people should see. Since it's spooky season, we're asking for a horror movie or kind of Halloween movie. So, what is a spooky movie that you think people should see?
I am going to highly suggest The Cleansing Hour on Shudder.
Mm-hmm.
It's an excellent film about this priest who does exorcisms on YouTube, and things go crazy during one of them. And so it's presented mostly as the YouTube channel itself through all the various video cameras that are on set, and it's pleasantly awesome.
Yeah. Oh no, it's a good one. I don't know. Has anyone seen it?
I haven't. But it
I don't have Shudder.
Too unpleasantly awesome.
Yeah, I don't have Shudder. Not right now. But we should. Well, I know someone who does.
Yeah. One of these years.
Yeah. I'm sure I'll find some way to watch it.
Yeah, you have creative solutions.
I know. But no, Shudder is really great. They're always putting out good stuff.
Oh yeah.
I know. I always feel like I should be subscribing more than I am.
You should be. Absolutely. You don't have any excuse.
I don't.
In this house, we subscribe to Shudder.
Yes, and no listener is going to get that joke because we were recording it.
They don't have to. I do this show for me. I'm our number one listener. It's fantastic.
I knew that was you.
I've made no bones about it. But who's another great listener? I was going to segue right into another great listener. Yes. Another great listener.
Go ahead.
Another great listener of the
show. Smooth segue.
Very smooth. So last week, we talked to our good friend Jack Bennett, and he recommended the film Dark Harvest, and I pointed out to him, I said, that's hilarious. Bounce and Bobby Lapierre recommended it to me as well, but I was wrong. Bounce and Bobby Lapierre recommended Blood Harvest, so stay tuned for that one next week. I watched Dark Harvest, which is Living Scarecrow adjacent from 2023, but the monster's really more of a harvest demon. Anyway, the movie is not great. We get confusing lore and uncompelling protagonists, but the monster is pretty cool, and thankfully, it is a real monster. I have some guesses at what the filmmakers were trying to say with this story, but I won't assume anything because that would just make them look stupid. Ultimately, it is a tired movie with no major plot movement that you care about because Here is the spoiler, such as it is. The twist is so transparent, I'm reluctant to call it a twist at all until I realized that the whole movie was banking on it. Oh, what a disappointment. I have to say, this has been a real bust of a year for Living Scarecrow movies. My faith is shaken. So let's hope Blood Harvest next week brings something to the table. Dark Harvest is probably streaming somewhere, or you can rent it, which is fine with me, but you have been warned.
Nice.
Sign me up.
That twist kind of sounds like Crimson Peak that we did, right? Where they tried to reveal that they were having the affair and was like,
oh yeah, and it's just
we
like,
knew that the whole time, guys. And they're like,
that
aren't you
twist is
surprised?
there is no twist.
Yeah, no,
like-
and here's the thing too. Like, once that quote unquote twist is revealed, the movie has no legs. Like, there's nothing left to go on. The ending is kind of okay, but then they completely change the lore around to make it work, and it's just like, stop doing this movie. Why am I watching this?
Wow.
Good
Speaking
question,
of no
Dylan.
legs. Speaking of no legs. Speaking of no legs, that's the segue, Schlenzo. Anyway, we all know that a franchise doesn't typically find its footing until about the 10th entry, which is why I was very nervous that the Saw series had run out of ideas before even really hitting its stride. However, I'm happy to report that with both 2021 Spiral and my recommendation here today, 2023 Saw X, the franchise is beginning to right the ship just as the series reaches its prime. Saw X is not a sequel, not quite a prequel, taking place after the events of Saw 1, but before the events of Saw 2, a bit like Rogue One. I hereby dub this new cinematic phenomenon the Betweequel, which
I love that.
until such a time when a name that isn't terrible is thought of.
No, that's it.
No, that's
Go
it.
with
I like
the
that one.
Betweequel. I fucking love it.
Betweequel. John Kramer, aka the Jigsaw Killer, extracts revenge on a group of con artists who defrauded him with his own unique set of talents. What I appreciate about this entry is the personal nature which Jigsaw chooses his victims here, while still managing to maintain an objective place in the game. The drawback, of course, of the Betweequel, like its cousin the prequel, there is never really any tension for the fate of Jigsaw. However, the more they make up for it with some very brutal and intricate killing sequences, which is, let's face it, the only fucking reason the series has reached 10 fucking movies to begin with. Here's to 10 more, baby! Saw Venti, here we come. I can't wait.
Do you think there's going to be 10 more Betweequels? Do you think they're going to try and squeeze them right in between that
God,
and
I
2?
want them
There
to
won't be
now.
that many Betweequels, no.
I
think,
want them to all to be Betweequels now.
I
like
think there'll be
2, 3,
another
4.
Betweequel. But then we can
Yeah.
start Betweequeling in between some others and get some other context. Like, here's
No,
the
he
story
dies
between
in 3.
7 and 8. Well,
Sometimes-
plenty of people die in 3, don't they?
Sometimes I have to be Tweequel.
But
if I
Jigsaw's
have too
gone
much
in
water.
3.
That exactly. I hate when I have to get up late to Betweequel. Ryan, what have you got for us?
My spooky recommendation this week comes from one of my favorite problematic auteurs, Brian De Palma. His first thriller, 1972's Sisters. I'm not going to tell you anything about it to preserve the twists and turns that it contains, but I will say that Margot Kidder delivers not one, but 2 outstanding performances. De Palma is in pure Hitchcock mode here. It's even scored by Bernard Herrmann, but filtered through his own preoccupations and obsessions. You better believe that there are amazing split diopter shots, you can count on extremely elaborate split screens, and don't worry, it's plenty pulpy. De Palma works best when he mixes Hitchcockery with his own brand of expertly calibrated mayhem, and if you're wondering if I'm overselling it, it is part of the Criterion Collection, right alongside Armageddon. Sisters is currently streaming on what used to be HBO Max.
Now, that one has a music video I absolutely love. Where, Lord, help the mister who comes between me and my sister. And Lord, help the sister.
We
who
cannot
comes
afford the
between
rest
me
of
and
that.
my man.
We can't.
It's
afford the
that
rest.
one, right?
Yeah, it's the exact same.
Come on, that's a great joke.
I wish I could not giggle like a schoolgirl when I hear the word Hitchcockery, though. Makes me, yeah.
Wait, why
very
is Brian De Palma problematic? Did he also do a bad Asian impression in a movie?
If you want to see why it's problematic, watch the motion picture
is that
Dress
what
to
he
Kill.
did? Oh.
Yeah, just for the extra thick listeners.
Did you
at
say
home.
a bad Asian impression? Like there's good
Like,
ones?
there's good ones, yeah.
Like,
Yeah, haven't you ever seen Breakfast at Tiffany's?
no.
Ouch.
I did see a lot of Mr. Moto, though.
Uh,
But no, good one. Big Ben, why don't you send us on home?
Rob says this counts as a heckamendation since people get vaporized in it, and with bad channels being focused on an alien invasion being reported by a radio studio, my head could not escape the Orson Welles 1938 radio adaptation of H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds. That is not the movie, though, so I'll skip ahead to the next adaptation, 1953's film of the same name. A film where, fun fact if you're in a Mystery Science Theater 3000, the name Dr. Clayton Forrester comes from. The look of this film is so unique and cool. I can't think of many other films that look and feel the way this one does. We certainly had sci-fi films with flying saucers and pew pew pews, but none that invokes this same feeling. It doesn't feel nearly as dated as it should, and its influence can be felt throughout all space invasion movies that followed. There's so much work and craft being poured into this one. The disintegration effect alone took 144 separate matte paintings to create. I haven't seen the 4K restoration, but maybe Ryan will let me borrow his.
It's awesome. I will tell you that. I own it. It's great. It's fantastic.
Will you let him borrow it?
Yeah, of course I will. I'll let Ben borrow my kidney if he wants to. He's my favorite.
Borrow.
Excellent.
How does that work? Like a surgery and then a second surgery?
We'll give it back.
Hey, as long as you're up to paying for it, it all works for me. I mean, what am I going to do with it?
Now, the real question is, how does it stack up to the 2005 version?
It's better.
I only saw that one in
better.
theaters. I need to see
I
it.
gotta say, I think that one's due to be on the show. I'm looking at it right now. 42% audience score, 76% on the critic score.
Leroy,
So-
you a Tom Cruise War of the Worlds fan?
Tom Cruise?
Well, it didn't have any music videos in it, so I didn't.
It does have
That's
that
all right.
one.
Yeah, but is it Psychotic Symphony? Then no, I'm out.
See, I know. I tried so long to read that band's name. I was like, what are these letters? what? And then I don't know. I
Did
think I
one
must
get
have sobered
dyslexia
up.
in their 30s? What's going on here?
Yeah, and then I finally sobered up. Oh, it's like, okay, I get it.
I reached out to them because I was putting together a stunt DVD at the time, and I asked if I could use their music, and they said, "Yeah, man, use it all." And
Okay,
so
yeah.
we have a viral video stunt team music video out, or a DVD out there with a bunch of Psychotic Symphony music.
That, I mean, I would listen to more. I mean, I liked what I heard. I know Schlender didn't, but with that,
No, that was the best song in the whole movie.
I know. I've been saying, I've been singing it all day. But with that, we are all out of show. But we want to thank our guest, Leroy Patterson, for joining us. Thank you so much, Leroy.
Thanks for having me. I had a blast.
Well, we'll have you back, and maybe a trauma movie next time. We'll see what we get you to do.
Ooh.
Sounds good to me. I've been in a few of them.
Yeah, none that you've been in though. That's a rule.
Oh, fair. That's fair.
And we hope everyone else will join us as well as the Reels of Justice, Hell on Reels, keeps burning.
Count it.
Dan O'Dare!
Please follow us on Twitter at Reels of Justice, Instagram Reels of Justice, and Facebook.com/Reels of Justice.